Hi, my name is Avinash, and welcome to the Web Analytics course. We're very excited to cover some of the basics when it comes to Web Analytics. And the very first one, perhaps, is why do you need to do Web Analytics if you're doing anything on the web? For the longest amount of time, we have made very faith-based decisions when it comes to our marketing, our customer service, our advertising, and other kinds of activities that companies do. And a lot of it was dictated by the fact that we didn't actually have access to a lot of data. It was very difficult to get data. But one of the coolest things about the web is that you actually have access to near infinite amounts of data, usually not for a lot. And so one of the reasons that you want to use Web Analytics for is that the simple act of adding a tag to your website allows you to have access to an enormous amount of consumer behavior when it comes to your digital existence. That means that you get a really deep understanding of what is working, what is not working, what do consumers like, what don't they like, where do they come from, where do they not come from, and other kinds of things. And it allows your company to make very smart decisions. For example, if somebody walks into a Chevy dealership here in Santa Cruz, you probably have very little idea about what caused that person to come to the Chevy dealership. But if somebody lands on Chevy.com, on the other hand, they bring with them a lot of trace of what caused them to come and engage with you. For example, they might have searched on Google for a particular keyword, and now you have access to that insight. Or they might have come in response to a television commercial that you ran and visited your website, and you have access to that. So a lot of this is a really great way to understand effectiveness of how you spend your money, which in turn helps you do very smart things when it comes to your consumers. Not only that, but it also opens the mind of your organization much wider. Maybe you believe that the only thing you can do on the Chevy website is give information that drives people to the dealer. But in reality, people who will engage with you online are going to be there not only to go figure out where the nearest dealer is, but they could be existing customers looking for help, or it could be car enthusiasts who want to customize their cars and trick them out, just play around and configure a car they might want to buy 6-9 months from now. Or they might just be people who want to understand a lot more about Chevrolet's philanthropic efforts. And at the moment, all of these things are very difficult to be met in an offline world, but with online you can. And that's where Web Analytics plays a really key role, helping understand why people come to your website. Once they are there, what is it that they do? And at the end of it, do they leave happy? And did you make money? Both of those questions get answered very quickly. So now that you're very excited about Web Analytics, let me formally define what Web Analytics actually is. And in my books, the way that I have defined Web Analytics is it's the analysis of qualitative and quantitative data about your website and your competition to drive continuous improvement about your digital presence, your customer needs and prospects, which translates into great and fabulous desired outcomes, both online and offline for your business. And that's more of a formal definition of Web Analytics. And let me sort of cover a couple of these pieces that are really, really important. And the very first one is very often Web Analytics is mistakenly believed to be just the art of logging into Google Analytics or Adobe, Web Trends, or IBM and analyzing all the quantitative data you have related to the clicks. And that is indeed a big component of what Analytics is all about, but it's also about answering the question about why people do what they do. And that's where sort of qualitative analysis around surveys and usability tests and those things come into equation. One of the cool things about the web is not only can you analyze your own performance, we can actually analyze how your competitors are doing, which is very, very cool. There are paid tools that you can use. There are free tools you can use. But if you're competing with somebody on the web, you can actually go get their data. And you can go understand how they are successful or not and learn lessons from what they are doing and go figure out how to change your strategy in turn. It's also very important to understand that you can serve the needs of people who want to buy from you right away or donate money from you right away, but also people who are in the process of just considering. And that's the difference between kind of people who are very close to becoming customers versus people who are going to be prospects, and it's going to take them a while to get converted. And the last thing, of course, is all about understanding that web analytics does not simply affect what you do on the web on mobile phones, tablets, or desktop and laptops, but actually what happens to your offline existence. If you have a call center, that will be included in web analytics. If you have an actual supermarket, store, or dealership, those things would be included. So web analytics at its holistic level is the art and science of qualitative, quantitative analysis of your data and your competition's data in order to drive improvements to the consumer experience online and to drive business outcomes online and offline. And that's what makes it so very exciting. Perhaps what is most exciting about web analytics is how incredibly easy it is for you to get into it. That's probably my favorite part, because if I just reflect back a few years in my career, and let's say I had a website that I wanted to analyze, I would easily have to pay anywhere between $50,000 to $5 million in order to get a tool that would allow me to analyze behavior of people on the website. But what is really cool now is that with tools like Google Analytics, which is free, or some other log file analyzers which are free, it is actually really easy to get access to data. Or you can get paid solutions from IBM or Adobe, which are not outrageously expensive, but they just cost some money. Regardless of the choice that you make between free and paid, you actually can get access to data for extremely cheap or for free. So the one cool thing to understand that there isn't a barrier between you and becoming smart because access to data is free. The journey to get better at analyzing data, of course, takes a lifetime, but it's an easy place to start. It doesn't cost a lot of money if you don't have a lot of money. Just remember, web analytics is going to help make your digital business more profitable and your customers happy. It's easy to get started, so go do it. Hi, welcome back to the Web Analytics Foundations course. In this video, we're going to cover one of my favorite sort of critical, absolutely amazing part of web analytics. I call it Web Analytics 2.0. It's a very key concept if you want to do anything with data on the web. One of the coolest things about having to do analytics on the web is that the data is mostly available for free or for very cheap. In fact, as we've covered in course number 1, if you actually simply add a JavaScript tag with 6 lines of code on your website, you get access to like 100 reports with tons of power to do all kinds of analysis on the clicks that people are making on your website. It is really, really cool. It works for your desktop website. It works for your mobile website. You have access to a ton of click behavior data. The challenge with the click behavior data is while there is a lot of it, and there are a lot of really cool things in it, for the most part, it only answers the question, what? What happened? Looking back. So you'll be able to answer questions like, what were the top 10 pages seen on my website? What were the top 10 products that we were sold? What were the programs for which we got donations? What PDFs were downloaded? What places did people come from? A lot of what questions. But as you begin to dive into this data, one of the things that you'll find is that it is very difficult to understand why people do what they do on your website. That's the key part. While we have access to all of this data, we don't know why people behave the way that they do. For example, you can see what the top 10 pages are on your website. But should they have been the top 10 pages on your website? What were the most important pages your visitors could not find that should be in the top 10? And how do you figure that answer out? And that's when we reach the limitations of click behavior. But the cool thing is we do have access to many different ways of answering many different questions for behavior on our websites. I call this concept Web Analytics 2.0. And it's a cluster of 5 types of analysis that you'll do that will help you get a complete picture of what's going on when it comes to your digital presence. The very first question, of course, is the what. And that's all the clickstream analysis that you will be doing. It'll help you understand what happened. Even with the 6 lines of JavaScript code, you'll get 80% of what you need. You do a little bit more work, you get the rest of the 20% what you need. The next question that you would want to answer is what I call the how much. Not only what happened, but how much. And this is where we go and implement special code or tracking that allows us to track our e-commerce conversions or track the micro conversions of consumer behavior on your website. So what happened and how much was the outcome of it on our business? And that's the question we're trying to answer there. And the third question that we'll answer is the why. And there are two strategies that we can use. One of the most common strategies we'll use is to actually collect voice of the customer. We do this using surveys that are easy to implement on our website. We do this using usability studies we can do online or offline, or other ways of analyzing consumer behavior. One of my favorite ways is to simply ask people, why are you here? Were you able to complete your task? Yes or no? It's a rich mine of why information. Once you analyze the what and the why, it becomes easy to do another wonderful thing, which is to leverage experimentation and testing to figure out why people behave this way or that way. Can we improve the performance of our website if our website looked like, had a big box in the middle, a sidebar, 3 small boxes at the bottom, and a lot of text? Is that a better way to get people to what they want? Or the entire website should be replaced with a photo of an apple? Which one is better? And you really don't know which one and why, what kind of outcome it will cause on your website. And that's where A/B testing and multivariate testing plays a very important and key role. And the last question that you will answer is the what else. And that's when sort of you go beyond the limitation and the bounds of your own business and your own website and go look at your direct competitors or adjacent competitors and try and figure out what is working for them and what is not working for them. So these are like the 4 questions that you'll ask: the what, the how much, the why, the what else. And you'll answer these 4 questions using 5 different strategies: clickstream analysis, multiple outcome analysis, experimentation and testing, voice of the customer, and competitive intelligence. And it leads to what I call the nirvana state of finding the kind of insights that give you a 360-degree view of the performance of your website in context of what customers were looking for, and allow you to figure out even more ways of delivering happiness to your customers and having higher revenue in this combination. I call this entire concept multiplicity, the art and science of doing many things well at one time rather than just getting trapped in a silo. That's the world of web analytics. And the very, very cool thing is when you go out and execute your multiplicity strategy, you have tools available, paid and free, all kinds, in order to do much more insightful analysis. You can use Google Analytics or Adobe or WebTrends to do clickstream and outcomes analysis. You can use tools like the Website Optimizer, Visual Website Optimizer, Optimist, and others to do experimentation and testing. If you want to do voice of the customers, there are free survey solutions like 4Q and Qualru, or you can use other longer, more paid versions of surveys from answers.com for C or other strategies. And finally, for competitive intelligence, you have access from search engines, you have access from competitive intelligence tools like Compete and SimilarWeb. All of these will help you understand how your competitors are behaving well. But these help you identify really robust insights to take actions both smarter and faster than your competitors in order to have a very successful business. The challenge that you will face is, should we do all of this at one time? And you can't actually execute a complete Web Analytics 2.0 strategy at one time. That wouldn't be wise. So I have created a very small matrix that will help you understand in what order you should execute and what priority things should be in. If you're a small business, start with clickstream, move to outcomes, do experimentation and testing. Those are my 1, 2, 3 for you. Voice of the customer, competitive intelligence can wait. They can come later. That's okay. But that's your 1, 2, 3. If you're a medium-sized business, start with multiple outcomes analysis. Absolutely critical for you to go from medium to big. Then do very amazing clickstream analysis, and finally experimentation testing and voice of the customer. And the very last thing you'll do as a big, huge, gigantic business, start with voice of the customer, move to multiple outcomes, then clickstream analysis, and finally experimentation testing and competitive intelligence. So now you have a very specific roadmap you can use to go execute a Web Analytics 2.0 strategy. It's not very difficult. You do it step by step, and he helps you get a much better understanding of how to crush your competitors, make your customers happy, and in exchange make a lot of money. Good luck.